Yep, I officially resigned from my full-time job. I was a school counselor for the last 14 years.
Today you have 45 SaaS clients, roughly paying you around 20 grand a month recurring. But you have big news.
When I initially started, I was cold calling out of state, because I was
Right.
so afraid that someone locally might actually know me or recognize my name or something. So
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
calling, of all places, I would call Ohio for some reason, and that's where I landed my first client. And then I would cold call California and Hawaii because
Yeah.
3 hour time difference. I could get home, hang out with the kids for a little bit, and then get them to bed. And 9 o'clock here, I could call California or Hawaii and still get a few, cold calls in.
How many hours a week is the business taking like right now?
Maybe 3 to 4 hours a week. Yep, I officially resigned from my full-time job.
Welcome back to another episode of High Level Success Stories, where I sit down with real entrepreneurs building real recurring revenue businesses with High Level and unpack exactly how they did it. Today's guest is Kevin Patrick. Just a few years ago, Kevin was working a full-time job as a school counselor. Today, he's built an AI business with more than 45 recurring SaaS clients, generating him over $20,000 a month in recurring revenue. But here's what makes Kevin's story even more remarkable. He accomplished all of this while working a full-time job and only having a few hours each week to prospect for new businesses. And here's the exciting part. Just this week, Kevin officially left his full-time career to go all in on the business he built on the side. Now, you might think Kevin is some kind of technical genius and knows every corner of High Level. He's actually the first to tell you that that is not the case. Instead, he focused on learning just enough to help local businesses find customers, make sales, and solve problems one step at a time. In this conversation, we're going to unpack exactly how he landed his first clients, what he actually says when prospecting, and how he built more than 45 recurring customers while balancing a full-time career. And finally, what gave him the confidence to bet on himself and make the leap into entrepreneurship full-time. Make sure you stick around until the end because I asked Kevin the one question that every aspiring agency owner needs to hear. If you could sit down with the version of yourself that was just getting started, what advice would you give him today? His answer alone is worth the entire interview. So let's find out how he did it. Kevin, welcome to the show. A few years ago, actually, up until recently, you were working a full-time job, and today you have 45 SaaS clients, roughly paying you around 20 grand a month recurring. But you have big news, right? Big news that happened this week.
Yes,
What's the big news?
I officially resigned from my full-time job. I was a school counselor for the last 14 years. And yeah, happy to, talk about that journey. It's been, about 4.5 years of an overnight success, as I like to tell people, that it's
Yeah.
a slow and steady process that really can pay off if you keep at it.
So what is it like to say that out loud?
So at the moment, it's a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Um, Earlier today, I said to my wife something about, I said my coworker, and I'm like, wait, I don't have any coworkers anymore. Um, so
That's
yeah,
wild.
a little interesting, but yeah, it's definitely the right time.
So that's a great segue into the next piece of it. Like, when did you know it was the right time to leave your job?
I've been slowly building this for the last 4.5 years, and the
Yeah.
first year I was just kind of dabbling in it. Like I wasn't totally sure that this was real, that businesses would pay every month. I didn't know quite how to get, businesses interested. And so when I initially started, I was cold calling out of state, because I was
Right.
so afraid that someone locally might actually know me or, recognize my name or something. So
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
calling, of all places, I would call Ohio for some reason. And that's where I landed my first client out
Those
there.
people.
And
Yeah.
then I would cold call California and Hawaii because
Yeah.
3 hour time difference. I could get home, hang out with the kids for a little bit, and then get them to bed. And 9 o'clock here, I could call California or Hawaii and still get a few, cold calls in.
So was it scary or exciting or both to leave the job?
Um, like mostly exciting. I mean, it's I've been doing this now for, like I said, a couple of years. So I
Right.
feel like I've learned so much about how everything works and sales and even, obviously marketing and just some of the tech stuff even. So Yeah, it's definitely exciting. I'm really excited just to be able to actually have some time to do better fulfillment for my current customers,
Yeah.
my future ones, and also
Yep.
probably give them even better or more services that I never really felt I could get into because I was like, how am
Yeah.
I really going to fulfill on some of these services that are more, I don't know, I guess they're more intensive and so on.
Yeah. What gave you confidence to make the move?
Um, you know, my every single year I've been just stacking on recurring income, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Just see it just keep going. And then obviously I was able to also get some affiliate income coming in as well. And that keeps growing. And, just being able to help out other agencies, other
Yeah.
young or newer agencies that are starting, helping them out. It's been fun and just, you know, yeah, it's just kind of just been a gradual process, really.
So let's actually rewind a bit. That's a great place to start. A lot of people watching this are probably where you were a few years ago. Um, so what did life look like for you when you were still working a full time job as a school counselor? Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I would, so I started cold calling because I figured it was the fastest and easiest way to get somebody on the phone. And I knew that having meaningful conversations was probably going to be the best thing. So it was like, how can I have some meaningful conversations every single day?
Yeah.
And I had a little bit of sales experience because before I found HighLevel, and this is how I found HighLevel, a friend of mine owned a print shop
Hmm.
and t-shirts, hoodies, embroidery. And he said, I'll give you $1 for every t-shirt you sell. And I was like,
Okay.
wow, okay, that sounds fine. I'll do it. I need extra money.
Yeah.
And so I started doing that. I went online. I found some landscaping companies online, and also locally. There's companies that needed shirts, HVAC
Yeah.
company, plumber. So I was getting $1 a shirt, but then eventually I was like, I'd much rather sell them recurring services versus having to get an order
Yeah.
every quarter or whatever. So that's how I got into the online thing. I went on to YouTube, found Paulson doing some
Yeah.
sort of talk on YouTube, and he was talking about websites and Google reviews and stuff. And I was like, wow, I said, all of these companies could probably use that type of service too. And rather than just selling like t-shirts and hoodies. And so that's how I kind of moved into it. And I just told my
Yeah.
wife one day, I said, I'm going to start a marketing agency. And I had no experience whatsoever. And we came up with a name in about 1 or 2 minutes. And then um, my whole thing was, and I don't think I've told you this, my whole thing was sell this first to prove it, and
Hmm.
then actually go get, a website and get everything set up and a logo and all
Yeah.
this. So
Did you actually believe that it could become a real business? I mean, like it is today for you?
Not quite in the beginning. After
Yeah.
a couple, I obviously I ended up somehow bumping into you online or hearing about you. You were interviewed, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Wait, this guy
If he
does."
could do it.
Yeah, I was like, gosh, he really seems like he." So, but you were telling your story about selling motorcycles and stuff, and then you got
Yeah.
into like chiropractic marketing. I was like, that didn't make sense. So I'm like, well, wait, yeah. So if
Yeah.
he's telling me it's possible, and then you know, I signed up under you somehow, and then
Hmm.
yeah. So I was like, gosh. So yeah, that that was basically the beginning of it, and I was cold calling these guys, these companies in Ohio,
Yeah.
sometimes, and also California and Hawaii. And I landed this guy, Radon Inspection Company of all people. And he said, "Yeah, I'll do it. I'll sign
Yeah.
up for $297 a month." And I figured I got to charge $297 because it was $297 to have HighLevel at the time.
Right.
So I got to at least break even. He said yes. I said, "Oh crap! I better figure out how to take payment." So the
Yeah.
only person I knew at the time that had some sort of white label support was Matt DeSeno.
Yeah.
So I
I remember
contacted
that.
that and I said, I need a website as soon as possible. They charged me, a couple $100, threw a one-page website up, took
Yeah.
with the Stripe integration. I needed everything. I didn't do anything. So I just need to take payment as soon as possible. Got it
Yeah.
all done and took the payment. And I sold the guy on reputation management. And
So I had a quick question for you on that. Was before you actually got started, was there anything that maybe almost stopped you from getting started?
good question. I don't think so because I knew businesses needed websites
Yeah.
and I knew as a homeowner that they probably would want Google reviews because as a homeowner I would not hire a plumber painter that had bad reviews. So I'm like,
Right.
if I could offer a system to get them reviews easily, they'll probably want it. I don't know if they would pay $297 a month, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I saw Paulson. He did one talk where he said something like, if you can't sell them on like the $1,300 a month SMMA package, you could always downsell to the like reputation management. So that's, I was like, okay, I'm just going to go with
Right.
that.
All right. So back to your first customer. How did you get them? You just cold called them, right?
Yeah, I just cold called them.
And what'd you say generally?
Yeah. So generally, I mean, I didn't use that. Like the script I use now is from Benjamin Dennehy. He's some sales guy overseas in
Okay.
England. But it's, I basically called up and said, hey, listen, I know you've probably been in business for a number of years. Reviews are incredibly important from a homeowner's perspective. What are you doing to get reviews? And,
Yeah.
just have a conversation. Now, I refined that later to, you know, hey, this is actually a cold call. Do you want to hang up now or hear me out for 30 seconds and then decide?
I love that. And hey, for you all watching, Kevin and I are thinking about maybe putting on a 2 or 3 part series where Kevin's going to go deep dive into his exact sales process, his exact onboarding process for how he acquires customers and fulfills for them, even while having a full-time job, because he just quit his job this week. So you'll learn how he got 45 customers over the past few years, paying him over 20,000 a month. If you'd like to learn more about that, you'd like to see that series, drop a comment below and let us know. All right, Kev, thanks.
Yeah, so I got him signed up. Matt DeSanto's team had got me the Stripe set up, whatever. Took the
Yeah,
credit card payment. I didn't know how to do a workflow or anything like that. I didn't know how to
yeah,
upload, you know, a file CSV. That's not something I did in my normal job. So
right.
I went to one thing I've always been pretty good at is I always know there's someone else who can probably do the work for me. I just need to find them.
Yeah,
So I went to Upwork and found a guy in Pakistan to set up the workflow, and he didn't know what I wanted, and I didn't know what I was trying to do. So I
right.
said, "Sure, let's just send the entire pass list through the Google review campaign." So we
Right.
just went right through like I don't know 200 people in like 1 hour, which was
Yeah,
not the smartest thing because then, you know, the guy was not the best. Um, Prospect or customer anyway because he was
yeah,
not that busy overall. So we went right through his list in like an hour, right?
yeah,
Like what's next? So it was just kind of like, well, Google Business Profile Optimization, right? And
right.
you had that document that was like, you should make 4 posts a month on the profile and
I
so on.
remember that document. We were talking about that, how
Yeah.
outdated it is, but yet it still works.
Yep.
Still, yeah.
Absolutely. That
I want to
was my
say outdated because obviously Google and the algorithm is always evolving, and there's more things to do to optimize that Google business profile now, but it's what you started with, and it helped out. Actually, I want to go back to something really quick, and I'm
yeah.
sure you're going to touch on this. I mean, it sounds like you just jumped in, got messy, made mistakes, learned along the way. Is it fair to say that you lost some customers because of mistakes you made?
Yes, definitely. And I think one of the key things I tell beginners now is
Yeah,
that I would like you to have conversations with any and all business owners because most of us, at least my peers,
right,
don't talk to business owners about their business very often, right? We may interact with business owners like if you own a house, you may have a painter come and paint
right,
your. You're not asking him like, "Hey, how are you doing marketing for your business? How are you growing it? How do you handle this?" And you're not talking about those things.
right.
So to flip that and try to have those conversations is really helpful because now you start to understand their problems, their pains, and what they want to fix.
Yeah,
And so if you can just get your feet wet doing that, and that's sort of what was my mentality is just like, let me just talk to these people, see what their problems are, and if they do mention that they would like more reviews, then I have a solution.
right. Real conversations with real people. Where I was going with that question of like, why are you asking me if I lost customers? Is one of the things I tell my students is, you know, you're going to have to lose customers to learn those things that you need to refine in order to be better for your future customers, right? So in order to get more customers, you got to get a few customers, make some mistakes, learn from those mistakes, which will make you better going forward.
Yes, and the just taking the action. I know you always used to say take imperfect action, and I was
Yeah.
all about that. So absolutely, you know, I remember a couple times trying to change something on a website, and I shouldn't have touched it. And
Yeah.
I did some button. And I was like, oh my gosh! And I like for the next 2 or 3 hours, I was on Upwork, like trying to find who's available right now to go into this website and fix it. Cause I was like scrambling, like just hoping that the business owner doesn't notice their website was totally down.
Yeah. I've had those
And
though. I've had those too. There
yeah,
were times when it was down for days and we didn't know it was down.
yes.
Yeah.
And
We're like,
it's,
oh,
yeah. And, I even, at one point, I was working on selling also just local people. And
mhm.
I remember setting them up by accident on my agency account. Like literally, like they had full access to my agency account, and I sat next to them. They logged in. They're like, "Yeah, like the screen, it says whatever. It was like 8,000 MMR at the time. What does that mean?" Like I
That's
was like,
crazy.
"Oh my gosh, you've been looking at my account, wondering what's going on here."
Yeah. Now, a quick question. So you did just quit your job, but in I mean, you just quit your job. So you've been doing this for a couple of years. How do you fit it in to a full-time job? Because I know that people that are watching this and I hear this all the time, like, oh, but I just don't have time, because I have a full-time job and I have family. And I kind of like, boo-hoo, I did too. If you want it bad enough, you figure it out and you make it work rather than be the hard ass. Just like really tactically, how did you make it work?
Yeah, so I remember there was somebody in the Facebook group way back in the beginning, and he had done whatever, like worked on his business on the side. And I asked him
Yeah.
one time, how did you do it? And he said something like, you know, his thing was like 5 to 9, then, yeah, 5 in the morning till 9 in the morning, and then 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at night. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, so he's working it in somehow. And I started cold calling at 7 o'clock in the morning
Yeah.
on my way to work, would catch a guy before he goes out the door to do his plumbing, painting, landscaping jobs for the day,
Right.
pitch him, but then I would always have a time limit, like, hey, Dar, listen, I know we've been chatting for a couple of minutes. I actually have to run. My kids are getting up. Do you have kids, by the way? And talk for another minute or two about kids, right? Because anyone can
Yeah.
relate with kids, and say, oh man, I really got to go. I'm going to send you a video about what I notice on your business, and I'm going to send it over to you. Is it okay if I text it to you, or I could send it on Facebook Messenger? Record that video at my lunch break.
Yeah.
I would go out to my car, use my iPhone hotspot, which was not easy sometimes.
Yeah.
Make the Loom video, send it over to him, and then follow up at 3ish on my drive home.
Wow.
And I did that, and I also did literally everywhere I went, I would carry these Google review cards,
Yep.
and
From our
I
buddy
would
Pat.
program them for the businesses. Yep, I would
Yeah.
program on the spot, or I would, as we bike ride in the neighborhood, if I saw landscapers, contractors, like I just walked across the street yesterday, there was a contractor doing concrete work,
Hmm.
3 reviews on Google, walked across the street, activated the cards, gave him the cards. He was not interested. He's like, listen, I only get jobs from other contractors. Like he's kind of like a subcontractor type guy,
Yeah.
which was totally fine. But I just created goodwill. He knows what I do. I got to
Yeah.
explain what I do. And I said, listen, anytime you come across someone that needs services, this is my number. This is where I live. So I just literally every opportunity I've done it at the gym, Dick's Sporting Goods, the park. I mean, if I see a guy with a shirt on, he's open game, right? Anyone
Your
comes to my
family's like, here he goes again. Here
yeah,
he
I mean,
goes.
my kids know the cold call script because I
Yeah.
had to make some calls sometimes in the very beginning while they were in the car. I mean, my 8-year-old can say it easily.
Love
Uh,
it. No, that's a good video. That'd be a good
yeah,
video.
yeah. So we actually yesterday we noticed a company in Minnesota running
Hmm.
Facebook ads to New Jersey, where I am.
Hmm.
Obviously, it's a big mistake, and the ad was terrible. So I said, I said, Bodie, let's call this guy. Let's tell him what's wrong, So we messaged him on Facebook. I said,
Yeah.
did you make that ad? He said, yes. And we called him, explained to him the problem. And then we redid his website using AI Studio.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I set up a sub account. The guy offered to pay. And I said, listen, he was new to everything. And
Yeah.
that's a key thing. A lot of these, sometimes you find these people that are so brand new
Yeah.
that they're not always the best fit. I said, listen, I'm more than happy to help you out. I'm going to build you this website. You're going to have to host it somewhere. You
Hmm.
might as well host it in HighLevel.
Right.
He's like, well, what is that? And I said, listen, I'll give you my affiliate link. You can sign up. They have the support. You get your domain. I'll help you, And then I said, listen, all I want in return, video testimonial in a couple of weeks when everything's, ramped up. So,
Love it.
yeah, that's what we've been doing for a couple of years now.
That is great. And so we have a similar story in that we both started when it was not ideal, right? We made it work. And so people who are watching this, you started while you had a full-time job, worked it in before the job started, on your lunch hour, after work. I did the same thing. We were building custom motorcycles. My business was failing. I was trying to save my business, had to get a full-time job with someone else. So I'm trying to save my business, working full-time with someone else, and then trying to learn this digital marketing
Yeah.
world that eventually led me to HighLevel. And of course, you know the story, built a SaaS business serving a bunch of chiropractors. But I think the key thing there is just resilience, right? The consistency and the resilience.
Yeah, it just never, excuse me, never stopping and just keep, trying to figure out what else you could do to just get a little bit better. Because over time,
Yeah,
everything gets so much more, your comfort level, it just increases because you're used to it and you understand like onboarding and why
right,
people like churn and how to keep them happy, and just the consistency with the outreach is important. And then you're just learning about fulfilling the services. And I always just tried to do easy to fulfill service because I was so time limited. I
right.
figured if the reviews keep coming in consistently and the Google profile gets updated, and maybe we'll build a website for them and it's not me doing it, I can outsource that. Then I
Yeah,
can kind of keep them interested in what we're doing for them.
I love it. Hey, really quick, and I know I want to do a deeper dive into in your sales process. Can you just tell us like quickly what you tell people, what they typically say, and what you typically respond with?
With the cold call opener.
Yeah, yeah. When you're cold calling someone.
Yeah. So usually I'll say something like, and it's gotten a little bit of different iterations over the years or so,
Yeah.
but typically would get them to laugh or chuckle most of the time. Although I've had some
Right.
guys, you know, get off the phone. I'm tired of you, scammers, whatever. But if they
Sure.
chuckle a little bit, then
Yeah.
I'll say, like, listen, I took a look at you online. It looks like you do pretty darn good work at painting houses in the local area. And I imagine that you have happy customers who, after the job is done, might tell maybe one neighbor, maybe two at most. But what if we could get them to scream about your business to all the local homeowners in your town on the biggest search engine of all, Google?
Yeah.
Would you be opposed to that? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, what have you done in the past to get customers to leave you a review? And they'll go into their process, and usually it's not a very good one.
Right.
I usually try to probe and say, well, how long have you been doing that? And how's that working for you? And then, gosh, so you're telling me that you've been in business for 7 years, you average about 4 jobs a month. And I'm not a math guy, Dar,
Yeah.
but I'm guessing if we did 4 jobs a month for 7 years, oh my God, that's like hundreds of customers. Are you telling me you've had hundreds of customers? Yes. And you only have whatever, 37 Google reviews, it
Right.
doesn't add up. So, gosh, if we could triple your reviews in the next 60 days, I know you're going to get more painting jobs. What do you typically, you know, paint a room or two these days? What's the going rate? I mean, I know I have a house. I don't know. Was it 800, $900 a room? They'll tell you.
Right.
And then I'll back into the price and say, gosh, so if we can get you one or two more customers a month, giving you the call first over your competitors, how are you? How are you on the phone? Like, are you pretty good? Are you pretty good at getting an estimate and getting that, getting out there to that homeowner? And once you're out
Yeah.
there, do you feel like you close most of the jobs? And they usually tell you 80%.
Sure.
Then obviously from there, I'm like, okay, so let's just do a little bit of math. If we can get you one or two more jobs a month, one or two of those might be exterior jobs. I know those are more expensive. So that's where my price just doesn't, I don't know. My wife gets mad at me. She says I should charge more. So then I'll say, the investment is $297 a month or the investment is $497 a month. And for
Yeah.
that, you will get, and I'll just go in, and for that, you're going to get, and I'll explain like, we're going to do a Google review campaign. We're
Hmm.
going to optimize your profile. Maybe rebuild the website, something like that. But that's typically how I kind of frame it.
I love it. So, talking about onboarding clients, right? Once someone says yes, what happens next?
So I know some people do like an in-person onboarding. I typically
Mhm.
send a Loom video,
Okay.
and I'll say, I'll send them an email, and I don't use any of the automations in HighLevel at all. As Alok and Pat can testify,
Yeah.
they've looked at my HighLevel on the back end. They're like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you don't even do anything on this. So the non-tech setup is literally I send an email and it just says, welcome.
Yeah.
Here's the video I need you to watch. Complete these steps, and then I'll look and see if they've watched the video, and then I'll know they completed the steps. I usually send them edible arrangements in the mail uh,
Nice.
that night or that day. This way, they get them the next day or two. And I usually will send them Google review cards in the mail as well, just to have them, even though we're probably not expecting too much from them. I just want them to have something physical to remember who I am, and
Yeah.
what we're aiming to do is like increase reviews. And so I will tell them like, listen, like I know you got those Google review cards in the mail. We're not really going to use them all that much, but I want you to stick them on the dashboard of your truck so you know that your reputation is on the line every single day, and that's what we're building. Does
Yeah.
that sound fair? And they'll be like, yeah, that sounds fair because your reputation is going to allow you to charge more and get more jobs as
Yeah.
we keep, stacking them up. No,
So, how many hours a week is the business taking like right now? You just quit your job. How much,
yeah.
how many hours? And then like, what does it look like for you going forward?
So it doesn't take a whole lot of time, especially if you're doing reputation management and the Google profile optimization. I've
Okay.
used merchant software quite a bit now on the
Okay.
Google profile optimization, which has been really helpful. And the reviews I get, I have a couple people that are so old school, they'll just email me the spreadsheet, CSV
Yeah.
file every 2 or 3 weeks, and I'll upload it, set
Upload
it
it.
in motion, and it's
Yeah.
just automatically, right? Going out. So maybe 3 to 4 hours a week.
And you're
Uh,
not even, I mean, I don't want to give anything away here. You haven't even really dipped your toe into the AI part of it things yet, have you? You
no,
see, there's
no,
a whole nother
right,
level you can unlock,
right.
like
It's
AI
that,
reviews response and
right.
engagement and so forth.
Yeah, and that's why that's what I'm most excited for is probably is learning about that
Yeah.
side of things. I just really
Well,
haven't
you
had
know, I got you on that.
I know.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, so it doesn't take a whole lot of time going forward. I've never consistently prospected either.
Yeah.
So people will ask me like, do you have a video of you making cold calls at your desk? And I'm like, I don't even have time to sit at a desk hardly because if like there's no way I can do that after school. My kids are home, I'm home.
Yeah.
There's there's soccer and baseball all spring, swimming, something, you know what I mean? Like there's always something going on.
Right.
It's not exactly like I don't have time just to sit around and make some cold calls. Now I'm looking forward to spending like probably an hour a day just
Yeah.
prospecting the way that I like to, and going to networking events. I went to one networking event. I paid to speak in front of 60 people.
Yeah.
And I would suggest this to anybody if you're willing to be uncomfortable because sometimes it's uncomfortable to get out and speak, but it was a big hit. I said, who here bought anything on Amazon today? Right. And literally
Yeah.
everyone's hand went up, like, or who
Yes.
bought anything on Amazon in the last 24 hours or 40 hours? Everyone's hand goes up. Got it. When you were looking at the product you were going to purchase, did you look at all the reviews. Did you even care? And like everyone's
Yeah.
hand went up. Said, okay, so that's what I'm here to talk to you about. Everybody here, I'm going to give you a simple tool that's going to increase your reviews, and it's totally free. And so from that, I got 2 people signed up like that
Yeah.
night
Yeah.
for, I think it was like each one was $297 a month.
Yeah.
Um, so I want to go to more networking events like that. I like, I don't mind getting up and talking in front of audiences about certain, marketing strategies. So
Okay.
that's what I'm looking forward to.
All right. So I know we're coming up on time. I'm going to rapid fire some questions at
Okay.
you. Just quick wrap. Hardest season of the journey.
Initially realized that some of the people that I had signed on were seasonal and they didn't want to pay in the wintertime, like certain landscapers,
Got it.
asphalt seal coaters. They're like, I don't want to pay December, January, February. Could we turn this off? And I was like, I didn't think about that. So
Okay.
I'm a pretty nice, reasonable guy. I'm like, yes, no problem. We'll just turn it off. We'll turn it back on
Sure.
tomorrow. And they've been so happy about that.
Would you say that is the, well, what mistake cost you the most time?
Probably, I guess, talking to business owners in the beginning that weren't qualified enough to actually, spend money like $300 to $500 a month.
Yeah.
You find there's a lot of them that are kind of part timers or not really fully established. So you get better at like asking them quickly, like, how long have you been in business? If they say 2 or 3 years and they actually have like, I don't know, 15 to 20 reviews, they've been in business and they actually have
Yeah.
some versus just a guy with a lawnmower that does some side things.
What would you say beginners overcomplicate?
Definitely, they overcomplicate just the outreach. I have a couple of strategies that are really easy to just get in front of or get prospective business owners to talk to you,
Yeah.
and then you will be able to weed them out if they're good fits or not. But it just gets you talking to people because that's the one thing everyone. If you're not currently selling to business owners, it's a little uncomfortable in the beginning to actually talk to them about their business operations.
Sure. So that kind of leads me into the next thing. I think I know the answer to this, but what do you wish you had done sooner?
Sooner, I would have gone straight to Facebook groups, joined a bunch of them, tried to help people in the group with comments and suggestions, and offered free services like, hey, just free trials. Like, can I just build you a website? I'm learning how to build websites using AI. Can I just build you one? And if you like it, just tell other people about it, or maybe you want to buy it or keep it. It's up to you.
Right. I'm always telling my students the same thing. I'm like, don't be afraid to do stuff for free.
I
Like,
know.
you got to do stuff for free to, first of all, just get in the reps for yourself so you have confidence that you can do it. Plus, you're going to get uh, testimonials from
Right.
beta users, some
Yes,
pretty
testimonials.
quid
I should
pro
have got
quo. Yeah.
testimonials earlier. Testimonials quicker because I did get results for people, but I was just didn't ask them for anything, right? So just testimonials would have been better. I have a bunch now, but it would have been better to get them sooner.
So, what changed for you when things started to click?
I remember once I got to about 9 or so customers, I was like, gosh, I'm almost at 10,
Yeah.
and they're all kind of paying like 297 a month or so. That's starting to like add up when it like started to pay for like utility bills in our house and mortgage and like car payment, some of that. You're like, oh my gosh, like, so all that's offset by this.
Yeah.
And geez, like, we just got to keep going.
So, if someone had a full time job and wants to build this on the side, what would you tell them?
So I would say join all of the local Facebook groups
Uh-huh.
and make sure that you just engage on there, just be friendly and helpful with any posts for like a first couple days or a week if you're not already active in there. And
Yeah.
then I would just start reaching out to the people in there that are business owners that post themselves. Cause a lot of times you'll notice certain painter will post every month or a landscaper will say, we're doing, spring mulching. They're trying to get attention. So I would just reach
Right.
out to them directly and say, hey, I'm Kevin. I live nearby you. I saw your post about spring mulch jobs or whatever. Can I just I just try to do a little bit of research on landscapers in the area. And research is a word that they typically don't hear.
Uh-huh.
And, you just have a conversation like, how long you been in business? What do you do to get more jobs?
Yeah.
And eventually they'll ask you, well, what is this? Where's this going? Do you want do you want mulching job or no?
Yeah.
And then you gotta be transparent. Say, no, listen, I'm learning marketing. I noticed 2 or 3 things, and I would just like to offer some free help. And that's how I would start.
Do you think there are any misconceptions about building a high level business or a SaaS business on high level?
Yeah, I mean, definitely some people make it seem a little too easy.
Yeah.
There's definitely going to be times when you are thoroughly frustrated with either the tech, like something doesn't work the way it's supposed to, and you're on with high level support or one of the white label support people or a VA, and the VA doesn't quite understand what you're trying to do, or, because they're overseas or whatever. So
Yeah.
that can happen. And definitely you're going to get sometimes where you're going to get a streak of no's or not interested, or sometimes the person will quit or cancel on you for who knows why.
Hmm.
You just don't know, and you'll probably never know.
So we were talking yesterday about our chat conversation that has gone back to what was it, 2021,
Yeah, yeah.
2023?
Yeah, 2021, 2022, yeah.
So what would you say to Kevin from a few years ago?
I would definitely say try to be more efficient with the outreach, try to get
Okay.
in front of groups of people faster. And so that's why that networking event worked well, because I was in front of like 60 business owners.
Yeah.
And so, due to time constraints, that was hard to pull off. But if you could do that a couple more times, it'd be helpful. And obviously, the Facebook groups can be really
Yeah.
great sources, because I was able to befriend a Facebook owner,
Hmm.
help them out for free or at cost, and then they become like a referral partner, and you're just like
Absolutely.
their go-to guy. Oh, I wish I did
So,
that.
so many similarities there. Same thing. I went to a chiropractic conference, said, here's what I do. Actually, before I even got to the chiropractic conference, went to a chiropractic sort of coach, said, let me just do this for you for free. If you find any value in it at all, to be kind enough to share it with the people you coach, then I'll make sure that they get a discount because they got it through you, right? Gives him a little status. And then I'll give you a little, affiliate referral of everything they pay. Next thing you know, it's like, hey, why don't you come to our event? Go to the event. Now you're speaking in front of many. He's saying, yeah, our stuff's great. It's better than you saying my stuff's great. You have other people saying Kevin's stuff is great. And
Right.
so, man, it just works every time.
Yes, definitely. I got one chimney guy who referred me to like five other chimney guys,
Yeah.
and those sales were so much easier because you're pre-sold already by somebody else, and just like, well, how do we get started? Versus trying to educate them. And I think that's the key thing too. Is I
Yeah.
always try to educate or teach the business owner before we get to any sort of like, really sales end of things. Just
Yeah.
let me just explain to you like what's going on and why it's important. And does that make sense? Like, I can't tell you how many times I say that. Like, Dar, does that make sense to you how that would work or why that would matter? And
Yeah.
so you're just kind of like educating them on some simple things that we take for granted, that we just, don't even think about, but they've never really thought about them. So you kind of have to walk
Right.
slowly towards that conclusion. Like, I need this. I don't have time to manage this myself,
Yeah.
and you can do this for me. Well, let's start.
I love it. All right. I know we're up against time. Um, Here's my final thing for you. We started this conversation with the fact that you quit your full time job this week. Monday comes next week and you're not going back to school. What do you think that moment's going to feel like?
So it's going to be interesting because, I'm going to set up a schedule where I'm, doing certain things at certain times of the day. So just keep on track with like,
Yeah.
this hour is sort of, customer, check-ins, or, just checking their account if I need to, and just
Yeah.
updating things. And then an hour or so of prospecting, hour or so of, you know, odds and ends, and just kind of just mapping out my day. And that's what I'm initially going to be doing.
I love it. Well, and huge congratulations to you for your deserved success, for sticking with it, for being resilient, for being consistent, and literally building the life that you want to build with financial freedom and time freedom. And really well deserved. And just kudos to you.
Thanks. It was your interview, whatever, years ago, when you were like, telling your story. And I was just like, you shared some mistakes that you had made and just some of the struggles. And it was just like, gosh, like, when you did motorcycles to chiropractors, I was like, that's a pretty big leap. So
Yeah.
obviously it didn't, stop you from doing it, and you just kept saying, take imperfect action, you'll figure it out. So,
Yeah,
and I know, you've made mistakes and I've shared them a
for
couple times.
sure.
It's
Yeah.
like, wow. And even Paulson, I remember he said a story where he was trying to set the budget for one of the doctors that he was working with, and he put $5,000 in budget instead of 500, and the doctor got like 200 phone calls like in 24 hours, and he
Yeah.
had he had to explain to the guy that he had messed up. So when I heard that story, I was like, gosh, I was like, it's doable. We just had to just keep going.
You just have to keep going. That's it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see just a small series, maybe 1 or 2 episodes, 2 or 3 episodes, where Kevin breaks down his sales process that he used on a daily basis while he had a full-time job, how he got 45 clients, paying him over $20,000 a month. If you want to learn that, maybe how he onboards those clients and how he's really gotten to where he's at today, kind of break those down in segments, then drop a comment below and let us know. Give the video a like and share it with someone else who could use it. Kevin, thanks so much, man. I'll see you on the next one.
Yep. Thanks, Tar. Appreciate it.
All right. If Kevin's story inspired you and you've been thinking about starting a side hustle that could eventually give you the freedom to leave your full-time job, just like Kevin did, I'd love to help you get started. The great thing is you don't have to figure out everything on your own. Go ahead and give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment below with the word side hustle. I'll personally send you an invitation to join my free community AI SaaS launch. Inside that community, you'll find free training, valuable resources, and a link to start your 30-day free trial of HighLevel through me. You'll also find that down below. Once you activate your free trial on either the Agency Unlimited plan or the SaaS Pro plan, you'll also get my AI agency website template, my AI demo drop prospecting system, which is the same system I use to create personalized AI demos to help start conversations with local businesses. And when you're ready to activate to a paid HighLevel account, you'll also unlock my complete AI SaaS agency bootcamp, where I'll personally walk you step by step through choosing a niche, finding clients, building recurring revenue, onboarding systems, and growing your own AI SaaS business. And finally, hey, if you know someone who's been talking about starting a side hustle, building that recurring revenue, creating more freedom for themselves, for their family, do me a favor, share this video with them. It might be exactly the encouragement they need to take the first step. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next episode of HighLevel Success Stories.